never slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever...
Welcome back, Rockets fans, to the Chop Shop Studio. Thank y'all for joining us. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. Now we got a wild show coming up for you. We're going to be previewing the NBA landscape, free agency. We got the Kevin Durant trade request. We got the Rudy Gobert trade. We got the possible Russell Westbrook and Kyrie Irving swap to the Lakers. Got a wild show coming up for you. And you know we got a Rocket segment where we preview how all of this shakes up and affects the Houston Rockets down the line. So sit back, relax, get your popcorn ready. Relax. We got you. Chop Shop.
Back. I want you to feel free from the chains that last, and to believe in what you got. It was built to last. Yeah.
All right, welcome everybody to the Chop Shop. Got my boy Frank FT F Tank 58 with me.
What's good? What's good?
What's good with you, Frank? How you
doing,
man?
I'm chilling, man. Chilling. Enjoying the Sunday afternoon. So yeah, I'm ready to talk some basketball.
Yes. We got the summer league kicking off soon, man. I'm so anxious to see Jabari and Tari and Tata and see how they gonna gel with guys we already got on the squad, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, same here, man. I want to see how they play against the Pistons starting five, because it seems like they out there with their whole.
Man, what is the Pistons trying to do, man? I mean, they trying to win a chip in the summer league.
That's the only one they're gonna get right now, so they can go and grab that one.
Nah, but we gonna kick it right out, man, with the big earthquake, groundbreaking news that's really got the league on hold right now, and that's Kevin Durant wants out, and is like, what's next for the Brooklyn Nets, man? How do you see this playing out, man?
Man, it's beautiful from the Rockets' perspective. We are seeing the Nets go through the most chaos that I've seen since the Harden era here when he won it out. So for us, the Nets are in a bad situation because we own their future. So even if they wanted to, typically what a team would do, like we did with Harden, is that your best player went out and you bottom out and reset the process of your team build and start from scratch. The situation they in is that not only do they not have the assets to reset because we own all of their assets, the fact that their best player has such a limited amount of teams that he wants to go to, it really kind of hamstrings them in their ability to recuperate even players. So if it was like, let's open up the league, Kevin Durant, we can trade you anywhere and you'll go play there, then they could still in that situation be able to get like players that could come back and keep them competitive. But the fact that he has such a specific list, it just makes that really, really hard. Plus, like, he has the leverage because he's the player. Even though he's just signed a new 4-year contract. If he don't want to go play in Sacramento, why would Sacramento give up, 3, 4, 5 picks and some good players for him? So, man, they are damned if they do, damned if they don't. But it's beautiful for us as Rockets fans because we just sitting there just chilling and just watching and trying to capitalize on what they're going to do.
Yeah, man. I do not envy Sean Marks or Cy or whoever is trying to pull this one out, because it's so many, even the people or the teams that can facilitate a trade, it's some stipulation that's stopping it. Like, you can't have two guys on rookie deals, that just read up on rookie deals. So that kind of rule out getting back Booker and Bam Adebayo, and it's so many other red tape that's stopping this trade from going on. And then you gotta match salaries, and then you gotta kind of recoup some kind of trade value from somebody. The thing is, they're not gonna be able to trade with a tanking team,
right?
Or you know what I'm saying? It's like, don't no team got two superstars just laying around, that's tradable.
Right.
If we got two superstars, we're trying to build around these two superstars. We're not trying to send them out for one.
Right. And you think about it. So, like you pointed out, when the players on their rookie extension, there's a rule in the CBA that you can't have two of those players on your team. So that's one barrier with Ben Simmons, because even a player like Bam Adebayo, or like you said, Devin Booker, like the type of player you want back is a young star. Most of those young stars are still on those rookie extensions. And then you can't get a young star back, basically, because if they're worth their salt, they're probably going to have that extension on them. That limits you. You forgot to even mention the Kyrie part of this thing, because he's also a piece in their, and with the Kevin Durant trade, because of, him being on the books there, you kind of want to know what you're getting back for Kyrie. And I think he's a first domino that they have to move before the KD thing can even be settled. So it's like you said, you got Durant's wishes where he wants to go play. You got the teams that are going to be receiving him. Then those teams, they have the right players and assets to send back to Brooklyn to be worth the trade. And, all of that is in context that they don't own any of their picks, for the next few years. I mean, they got some pick swaps. Now, there is a scenario where, let's say we as the Rockets tank, and we're just tanking to the core, and we get like a number 2 pick, and they're just a bad team, and they get like a 5th pick or a 4th pick or even a 3rd pick and get to keep it. So that's one of the few areas they could see, but I don't know if they want to tank, because their owner came out and said that they want to stay competitive through this rebuild. So, it's a complicated mess right now, but I know something is going to happen coming out of it.
I think their almost their best chance, if they don't want to go through all the red tape, if they don't want to have to pull Albert Einstein out of the grave and tell him to come up with some type of equation, a formula that can get us KD, and we can keep Devin Booker, and we can keep, our core. If they don't want to have to do that, they're going to have to bring the Rockets into this trade at some point in time, just so they can try to get some of their future back from the guys that own their future. I don't think there's no other way, so they can be able to actually control if they want to tank or what they want to do. They're going to have to, like you said, in like some type of 3-team trade, send a young guy that the Rockets feel like got potential that they can kind of, build around and fit with the young core that they have, and still not hamper their trade, to the Nets, but still give them some of their pick swaps and stuff back. To where,
let me ask you this: what level of players, or what type of player would be worth us relinquishing some of those, like a swap or even a pick?
I mean, superstars are out the question. So you got to look at the second tier type guys that's on a team, like a Jaylen Brown sort of type guy, or it's so many. It's not that many of them out there. Maybe Donovan Mitchell, but he don't really fit. I don't think he really fit what we're trying to do over here with, his poor 3-point shooting and thing. He got his own problems. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's gotta be like a OG Anunoby type guy. Like,
now if they've thrown around the Scotty
Barnes. I was getting around the Scotty Barnes, but I have no man, bro. If they getting KD, yeah, they might give up Scotty Barnes. But if they not getting KD in this situation, there's no way I think Toronto is coming off of Scotty Barnes, because he's not only a very, very good player and the reigning rookie of the year, he almost is the heart and soul of their team already as a rookie. You know what I'm saying? They have him facilitating at times when there's not a true point guard on the floor. They feel so comfortable with Scotty Barnes that they give this man the ball to make decisions with. Right. So that's an integral part of their team that they looking to grow with. And to say that they will give him up, for some couple of first round picks and some fillers just to get KD over there, I don't know. I mean, that's a tough ask. You know what I'm saying? Because if we just keeping it all the way 100, even KD haven't even been KD, like as far as being healthy and being able to say he's gonna be on the court 24/7 no matter what. He does have injury concerns. He is getting older. And it's like, man, it's almost like KD, you almost you just in a bad spot, bruh. Like you made this bed, now you gotta lie in it. That's what it looking like. Like, cause no situation that you go to is gonna be perfect for what you was at, or what you want. Because you had the perfect situation in Golden State Warriors and you just walked away from it. Now you know what I'm saying. The gods, they it's karma, bruh. It's karma. That's just like how James Harden tried to run away from the grind with us and ran head on, you know, into a shitstorm, bro. And it's look and it's bad. You know what I'm saying? Like the grass ain't always greener. You know what I'm saying? Player empowerment. Sometimes you gotta save the player from themselves.
Right.
And there's no hierarchy in the league today that can tell a player be still, shut up. You need to just chill and let's work this thing out.
Right.
So it's just looking like Kevin Durant is not gonna get his wishes to where he want to go. If I'm the Nets, I'm like, I don't care where you want to go. I'm sending you to where we gonna send you so we can have the better package, so we won't crumble for the next 10 years after we get rid of you and Kyrie.
Now the team that I would be like that, but it's like you said with the player empowerment, you got to understand the team that he's going to be going to. They have to feel like, okay, this dude wants to be here for us to give these things. That's, to me, that's the hardest part. And it's like trying to convince him, hey, we're going to send you to X team because they have something we like. And you have to also show KD and his camp that that's a place where you can go win. Now with the Scotty Barnes thing, the scenarios that I've thought of with them would be if the Nets are okay with taking like a few of their good players, maybe like OG and some, like Van Vliet, and then leave Siakam there to pair up with KD because he's going to need a second, like a Batman and Robin for him to play with that they can actually build a team around. Then for the picks part that Toronto really doesn't have to give up many picks, if any, but they're sending out their, rookie of the year, star talent, young guy to Houston, where Houston would then relinquish some of those picks to Brooklyn. So you get the picks through Houston, you get the players through Toronto. Then KD gets to go to a team where he can play with one of the best coaches in the NBA, a competent front office, and some pretty good players. Now, that to me, that's the model where Houston can get involved. But if it was just straight up Brooklyn and another team, man, what you're going to need is, you're going to need to have the picks. So you start looking at teams in the NBA that fit that profile. It's not a lot of them that have picks and a championship caliber roster. And, the Phoenix is like the number one out there. But to me, if you're giving up Mikal Bridges and DeAndre Ayton, what do you have there except a damn near 40-year-old Chris Paul and Devin Booker, who's, last time we seen him, he didn't look that great in the playoffs. So it's like it's a catch-22, man. And I think KD needs to be realistic with himself. Like, what are you trying to accomplish, bro? Like, are you trying to just go to another super team? Or is this your opportunity, honestly, to go to somewhere where you can be the guy, maybe in a small market team, go there and just say, hey, this is my team. Give me one guy. Let's just go to work. We can build something from there. Because I don't think really whatever he does, his legacy is really just being drugged through the mud right now.
Yeah, because it's looking like he don't want to carry no weight himself.
Right.
He just want to go, wherever he can get the easy ride and get an easy ring. And people, they already calling his 2 rings an asterisk already. It seemed like he should want to go to where he actually would have to prove himself. I'm like, man, I'm that guy. I did take a team, whatever team, wherever he lands, to the championship, and it was because of me, and that we succeeded. It's just he just looking real weak, man, because if he's doing this solely because of Kyrie, we all know he followed Kyrie to Brooklyn. And if he's trying to leave just because Kyrie is trying to leave, like, bro, like, you, like, where's your manhood at? Like, bro, like, you can't think for yourself, man. Like,
yeah,
eventually you're gonna have to start living for KD, or KD ain't gonna never be happy with KD. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's looking like he's just trying to run away just because Kyrie trying to run away.
Now think Think about this though. Even like with the thing you pointed out about running from the grind. Remember, like the person that started this whole team up stuff really was LeBron, right? But even LeBron, after he did his 2 years in Miami, he went back to Cleveland with really unproven Kyrie Irving. I mean, Kyrie was nice, but he wasn't no like superstar when back then in 2016. He was like, a nice little player. Kevin Love on pretty much like after his prime had already peaked, and just some good role players and won a chip against one of the best teams ever. So where is that on KD's resume? That you say, hey, I'm the guy, put me anywhere. Just give me a couple of dudes that know they roles and we gonna ride. I'm taking them to the finals. So that to me, like this past year, the whole Brooklyn thing, even how they got swept, it really like that whole conversation between him and LeBron in this era as being like 1A, 1B. It's clear now that he was never
It's
on
over.
the same level. Yeah, that's
It's
not even
over.
a conversation.
Yeah. I mean, and so how you feel like this is really going to play out in the end? Like when it's all said and done and the smoke clears, is he going to actually force his way out and be in a better position where he's going?
I don't think. I think he will get traded. Obviously, we've seen this movie too many damn times. You know how this go. To me, like once the player asks out, it's better. I mean, just go ahead and do what you got to do as an organization, bro. Don't even drag it on. Like it gets ugly. You never win, and you're never going to recuperate the value. That's just how it is. I think he gets moved. He probably gets moved to one of the team he does want to go to. I think the Nets are probably trying to find the best deal for them. They might get back some picks and some okay players that keep them afloat to where they're not like the worst team in the East. But it's going to take a lot of creativity for them to be able to get back into where they own their future again. But it's not looking good for them. Looks like they're about to go through a dark patch in their organization's history for the next couple of years.
Speaking of, man, it seemed like they almost cursed. Like they when they it's like they don't need to trade no more. The Nets. I think the NBA need to come together and put a ban on the Nets cursing them, because every time they make a trade and they think, oh, we got generational talent, it crumbles and it leaves their franchise crippled for a decade. They was just pulling themselves out of the Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, KG whole fiasco. Well, and it seemed like right when they got a good squad, healthy, young squad full of talent, they break it up and bring in Kyrie, KD, traded most of them off for James Harden, and they right back in the same spot that they was 10 years ago. It's laughable. I enjoy it because we on the good end of this thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like we really on the good end of good side of this, and I'm just anxious to see where it all play out and where he goes to. Of course, he's gonna get moved. There's no question about it. But I don't know if he's gonna, unless he's going back to the Warriors. I don't know how much good fortune is about to come Kevin Durant's way, man. Truthfully.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine if he went back to the Warriors? I mean, it would.
I'm not watching basketball.
Yeah, they would shut the world down, man. He would be just flamed to
bro.
oblivion. I hope he doesn't do that.
But what's crazy is they actually got the assets that probably can facilitate a trade for Kevin Durant. They got young guys. They got Kuminga and Wiseman and you know what I'm saying, Moody and the shit. They even got what's the name that Jay just signed, for all that money. Jordan Poole. I mean, like he can be dealt for KD. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just hope. Nah, Warriors, y'all good. Y'all just won the championship. Y'all don't need them, bro. You know what I'm saying? Let KD stay. You know what I'm saying? But moving right along to KD's running mate, Kyrie Irving. This man is like he writes his own gag reels. Like Kyrie, I don't give him a lot of smack about his vaccination status because that's personal to me. That's what he wanted to do. but just going on hiatuses and chilling, and because January the 6th happened, and he don't want to go to work and this and that. Oh, I miss LeBron now. I should have never left LeBron. He looking real weak right now, and he trying to crawl back to LeBron. You know what I'm saying? And how you feeling? You think Bron and Kyrie is gonna link back up at the expense of Westbrook?
Yeah, I think it's gonna happen. Like with these, to me, if a player want to go somewhere, that's where they're gonna end up, and that's where we are. And I think this is something that's going to be talked about in the CBA that's coming up in their discussions they're going to have regarding the player empowerment. But if that's where he wants to go, and if the Lakers want him there, it's going to happen. As far as like the actual process of that happen, it gets a little more tricky because obviously you have Westbrook there. That would be the contract that you would want to move to get Kyrie on the team. And I've played around with some different trade scenarios, and the ones that typically work out for the Nets and the Lakers it'll likely be a 3-team deal where Russ would go from the Lakers to a third team. And for example, like New York, I always use the Knicks because they kind of have the salaries to match it, and some of the the players that may be favorable to the Nets. Where he goes to like a team like the Knicks, and Russ is making like $47 million. If you combine salaries with Julius Randle, Derrick Rose, and like another player or two here, you match that up and send them over to Brooklyn, and then Kyrie can then move over to the Lakers, and you would have to send back Kyrie and somebody else, right? And what would end up happening? Those picks the Lakers have would have to go to that third team as a sweetener for the team to take on Russ's big contract. And that's really what is likely going to happen with that trade. I mean, they could do it straight up, but if you do it straight up, you get into the scenario where you got Russell Westbrook on your team with Ben Simmons. And that's why I don't just see the straight up, because you'd have to send out Kyrie and like Joe Harris or, one of your shooters to the Lakers, and then you bring him back Russ with Ben Simmons, man, that's tough. So that's why I think that 3-team model, you can get some like spacers to play with Ben, get Russ. You ain't got to deal with the Russ contract. Send him somewhere where like a small town team or a team that's desperate like New York for some star players, and then Kyrie can go over. But I definitely think this one is going to happen. I just can't see the Brooklyn Nets tolerating another season of Kyrie Irving on their books.
Man, I just don't see how the Nets. I don't just see how they.
Bro, we just spent about 20 minutes talking about how just from one player they screwed. We about to put another couple of minutes.
That's what I'm saying. They go put. Man, this is so gratifying because we are in the whole opposite position of, you know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
If anything, the Rockets picked the perfect time to tank and to get out from under Westbrook and John Wall and these massive contracts that's untradeable at some point in time, because the production don't meet the dollar amount, that the contract says that they need to be earning. And this is where I think the Rockets are really trying to not get into with trying to restructure deals early, like Jayshawn Tate and some guys like that. They didn't want to pay Christian Wood because they didn't want to be in this similar situation. And you can almost say with Jared Allen the same. They didn't want to be connected to these guys, later in their career, and they got massive amounts of dollars, and the production is not meeting it. And it's crazy that the Nets and the Lakers are basically in the same boat, to where they both got malcontents on their team that they really don't fit with their team. They're not vibing no more, but the contracts and the dollar amount of what they're getting. Now, Kyrie a little bit less, because Kyrie his skills is worth his money, but his off the court antics and just his disruptive nature, it's apprehensive to a lot of teams. Like, man, whoa, we don't really want to bring this guy in there because he's gonna get into the minds of everybody else, and like one bad apple, it really rottens the whole barrel. And it's like they're switching problems for problems, But I don't, like you said, Frank. I don't see how the Nets are really gonna try to. Westbrook can't be in their future at all.
Right. I
Like
definitely agree.
like with Ben Simmons there, Westbrook cannot be in their future at all. So it's even like how we were saying, it's even more complicated for the on the net side of things to actually agree to this trade. Like it's really hardly any upside to them doing this trade in my eyes, unless they get a third team that's young and somebody that's just like, hey, we got to spend the money anyway. You know what I'm saying? Let's just bring over Russell, have fun with some guys. We gonna get up and down the court. He gonna probably average a triple double, and we just want to sell tickets, fanfare type stuff. But
Yeah.
I don't see nobody who's lining up to do it.
So with the Russ thing, if you remember, when Chris Paul was traded to Oklahoma City, one of the things, Oklahoma City was a team that was in the middle of a rebuild that was okay with taking on picks to offload Russ, to the Rockets, and basically halt their rebuild for 1 year to help CP3 kind of recuperate his value after looking real bad in the playoffs in the Rockets. And because they didn't have no plans of winning at the moment, they were able to CP3, come in here, do your thing for 1 year, bro. We'll get you out. So I can see a similar situation with Russ, where a team that's like young and really ain't got nothing to lose, that maybe wants some additional draft assets, could say, yeah, just bring him on. We'll take him in, and he could have his triple doubles, play hard if they make a play in or even the playoffs. They don't care, and let their young guys get some experience. And then once he's done, try to move off him because he's an expiring. They could just let him walk, or if they want to, whatever they want to do with him is really, to me, I just let him go into free agency. But there's going to be a team like that that's willing to take on his contract, that has some expiring guys or guys they don't want on their team anymore. So there's a couple teams that maybe want to do that. It's just,
send him back to OKC then.
That would be perfect.
He'll be fun looking, running with Chet and them guys. They need somebody that's really. But Giddey is gonna get kind of left out the rotation. I think
it'll be a battle for triple doubles, man. Can you imagine if they both got like 9 rebounds? They be tackling each other because Giddey's thing is a triple double.
Yeah. He the new Russell Westbrook, man.
They're gonna be fighting and dragging each other out. Yeah.
So since you said this trade is definitely gonna happen, Frank, I'm gonna hold your feet to the fire.
Yeah, it will.
So where do you think they're coming out on the West if they actually do get Kyrie Irving in the Lakers uniform?
Makes some danger if he's available. We know, like, we could put all the January 6th, the COVID, all that stuff on the side. Kyrie Irving's still a bad boy now. Don't get it twisted. People, like, when he playing ball, he is one of the best players in the league. So I don't know what his relationship is with Bron right now, but to me, if him and Bron can get into that situation where he's able to trust him and let Bron lead as he did in Cleveland, and fall into his role as a secondary third level star, then that's dangerous for them, because he does address some issues right now for them, which is shooting and spacing. Then you got a guy that can facilitate, get a bucket late in the game, which is a lot of issues they have, because LeBron is not that guy anymore. So yeah, I think it's still that makes them, to me, in the top 4 in the West instantly.
I still think AD, man. AD still is gonna be the linchpin on whether that team goes or not. Because as much as, like you saying, LeBron, he's more perimeter oriented now. You're gonna need that, somebody that could take it in 15 to 12 foot, 4 foot, dunk it, alley-oop threat. AD is he's a total package offensively once if he's healthy and got his mind right. So I'm gonna put it all on AD, and trending the way AD's career is trending, he's not gonna be healthy again. He's gonna get hurt again, and it's gonna be another finger that Bron could point at and be like, "Man, look, I can't do it with him." And Kyrie, he ain't gonna hold back. So I want to see what Darvin Ham got cooking up, since we so uh we give Silas a hard time because he's a first year head coach, and I mean, first time head coach and all this. And I'm gonna see what Darvin Ham, what he looking like over there, and seeing how he's managing, egos and roster constructions, and seeing what he's gonna do. Because if not, we know Braun, he ain't gonna hesitate to get him up out of there.
Okay, so I think that Bron, he's the type of guy that even if you have some of those situations, we've seen him win a championship with with Ty Lue when they had all those rumors about Ty Lue being like a punk coach, and you come out and find out later that he wasn't about that. So he's been there before, I think, and it's kind of ironic that with Kyrie on the team doing that, and you've seen the videos of Kevin Love and them working out together, so that'll be kind of a funny thing if they can all get back together, that band from Cleveland, and be over there. But I think with LeBron, the thing that we don't have in Houston is he's a leader, and he's somebody that he's damn near like your head coach. So if he says like, okay, we're going to do X, Y, and Z, and everybody just get in line, then I think that's what it's going to be like. And and I think Kyrie knows that going in. I think this go around, like I watched him on the interview with I Am Athlete, and he was just talking about how his mentality was back then, that he wanted to find his own, but he might not have approached it the right way because he was so young when all that stuff happened. And now he gets to see, after he been through Boston and the stuff with the Nets, like what the responsibilities Bron had to take on as a leader, and he respects him for that. So maybe having that insight and respect after his experiences to know that, okay, this is LeBron's team. I'm coming here to do what I got to do to help us win the chip. I still think like AD can still be a top 5 player. I think LeBron is still one of the best minds in the game, and his body at 40 or 30 now, whatever he's going to be, is still better than 99% of the guys in the league. And to me, you put them dudes together. I like some of the signings they've made in the free agency with Juan Toscano-Anderson. What's his name from the Spurs? Lonnie Walker. Yeah, they picking up guys that are, they're not the best, like, super duper defensive players, but they're versatile and young. They're adding youth to their team. So I think the Lakers are going to shock a lot of people this season.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're a top 4 or 5 team if they get Kyrie over there for sure in the West. So we definitely gonna be keeping an eye out. Everything LeBron do or whatever the Lakers do is gonna be news. So we gonna keep our eye out on that one. Now we got another blockbuster trade that happened in the NBA. Your boy Rudy Gobert. The Jazz walked off with a king's ransom from the Minnesota Timberwolves, man. First, let's break it down. The Jazz will receive 4 first-round picks, 3 unprotected, 23, 25, and 27. And I think it's a 24 protected top 5 protected.
And they got a pick swap in one of them.
And they got a pick swap somewhere up in there. I couldn't fit it all on the screen, so it was just too much. And they also received Malik Beasley, Patrick Beverley, Jerry Vanderbilt, and newly signed and drafted Walker Kessler. Man, I mean that's a haul for a Rudy Gobert, man. How do you feel, Minnesota? Did they overpay or is it right on the money?
Man, that is, like we've talked about in the past in different settings about like the value of a big in the NBA. Now, a big is a having a dominant big is important, but in today's game, the premium positions are your wings, your Kevin Durant your Jason Tatum's, your Kawhi's. To let go that many assets for a big, especially on a team where you're basically trading away all your core defensive players away to bring in this guy to have another big that's going to be a max player. So you've invested about $80 to $90 million between Cat and Goldberg. I haven't seen that before, bro. It's been since probably Duncan and Robinson that we've had that much money invested in 2 bigs, and neither of them is Duncan or Robinson. So I don't know what they're doing, bro. They must have a grand scheme plan or something like that. But man, Danny Ainge, man, he damn near in the front runner for executive of the year, bro. Because
Off
he
that one trade.
finesse. Talk about a robbery in broad daylight, man. You talking about you have the flexibility. Now think about this, bro. They still have Donovan Mitchell there. And if they wanted to go Rockets mode, maybe they like what they seen with Houston doing and some of these teams. Just from Rudy Gobert, they got all that. They could flip Donovan for other assets and still just fill up and be set to just go into this Wemby sweepstakes and all these next couple of years with these guys coming out and just retool and still have enough flexibility in their salaries and with their draft picks to, follow the same path we're following right now, basically. Or they could take the route and say, you know what, let's flip some of this stuff and get a player in here to pair up with Donovan. So I think Danny, one thing I know about him is that he is a cutthroat. As you know, some people don't like him for that. Remember the thing with AD's dad saying he didn't want AD to go to Boston because he didn't like how Danny Ainge was treating players. So
the Isaiah Thomas situation too.
Yep. And you got to think who's from the tree of Danny Ainge is Daryl Morey. So they got that connection over there. So it's a lot of that's to me, that's some finesse and some great GMing. I think Utah, their future is better. As much as I could say good about the Jazz, I think they did good in that. And for Minnesota, man, good luck, bro. I am genuinely curious. Like, I'm really curious to see them on the court together, Cat and Gobert, and see what their plans are for that.
Okay, let me play devil's advocate real quick then for him.
Go ahead, man.
Because I agree totally about what you're saying with the Jazz. I agree. You know what I'm saying? They finessed on the highest level of finessivity. Like, I haven't never seen nothing like that, quite like that, man. Like, that was a finesse job, like highway robbery. But I'm guessing, totally guessing, that Minnesota series that we finally made a playoffs, play-in game. We finally got almost a inkling of a championship window opening. Like, they haven't had no type of playoff success in Minnesota forever. So we're gonna get Cat, that's a great offensive big, that's gonna pair with a great defensive big. So wherever Cat is lacking, Gobert is picking up, and wherever Gobert is lacking, Cat will be able to pick it up. So as long as Cat can just come out and just think about, all I got to do is kind of, stay in front of my guy and just funnel him to Rudy Gobert, it's going to be hard to get the ball up over 2 7-footers. Somebody on your wing and somebody, right standing in the paint camped out. I can see why they did it. And I can see, I'm guessing they thinking if we don't make a move now, our championship window is only going to last maybe 1, maybe 2 years, because Warriors are still here. The West is the West. KD looking like he's about to come over here. Teams are just getting better and better and better. And so for us to combat these wings and all of this, we're gonna just put two. We haven't seen it in the league before, like you said, since Duncan and Robinson. And they did win the championship together, but it is a different league. I'm gonna give you all of that, but it's like they just taking something and throwing it up against the wall and saying maybe this can work. Maybe this can work, because they're not going to be operating in the same space for the most part.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? These are two totally different types of bigs. And as long as Ant, if he can, if they don't want to make this experiment a total failure, they will have to some type of way get Rudy Gobert involved in the offense. Some way. They're going to have to throw him some lobs. They're going to have to make the opposing center respect Rudy Gobert on offense in some form and fashion, because if they don't, in the opposing center can just roam, it's going to be ugly. It's going to be ugly. So they going to just, I'm hoping they not just getting Rudy Gobert there just so he can just play defense, because their offense is going to struggle mightily. They're going to have to find out a way to make this man a net positive some type of way on offense.
I mean, okay, so let me buy into what you just said. Let me put myself there. So the way I could see it is if they made Cat a 4, right? And
Yes.
maybe we need to stop thinking about him on offense as a big because he's shooting damn near 40% from 3 every season on like 6 or 7 attempts. So he's one of the premier shooters in the league. So if I can imagine that they don't think of Karl Anthony Towns as a big on offense, that he's just a floor spacer, then I could see where they use D'Angelo Russell's pick and roll. Uh, he's nice in the pick and roll. D'Angelo Russell is one of the premier pick and roll ball handlers with Rudy Gobert, and have Cat on the opposite end as just like a catch and shoot big that could also punish a mismatch if he caught one like in the lower block or something like that. So
Now
I'm
you see the
guessing that
vision.
I
Now you
see
see
it.
the vision.
I'm guessing that's what they see. My only issue, bro, is in the playoffs on defense, man. Because now the flip side to that is that you have two players that could be compromised if they're playing like a team with John Morant or with Steph Curry, any of these quick guards that we typically see these types of big struggle with. That maybe I don't know how they do that. I don't know if they have a scheme for that. Maybe they're confident in Rudy's perimeter defense to do that. Because I think Cat is not that strong of a perimeter defender, and he's not that great. Like, he's a good shot blocker, but not great. The fact they lost Patrick Beverly doesn't sit right with me, because to me, that was the catalyst of what changed on their team, was that he brought them a mentality. And we've seen this with teams, even with teams like the Rockets, when we let go of a guy like Trevor Ariza. Yes, he wasn't as good as we want. Yes, he went 0 for 12. But those type of guys, those glue guys, really bring a certain toughness to your squad, the PJ Tuckers of the world, that pull something extra out of you in those playoff games, that you just get inspired by the type of heart they show. So to me, Pat Bev is a glue guy. You don't trade guys like that for nothing. Even with what's his name, the tall kid that they traded to. What was the other?
Walker Kessler.
Kessler and
Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt, man, great rebounder, great perimeter defender. I mean, that was, to me, the Vanderbilt one was a killer, man. He was so integral to their team. So I don't know. They got to retool somehow. They have really not that many assets anymore going forward. Hell, they should have tried to trade for KD with that much stockpile. I would have threw in, you throw in another
Just
player
throw in
there.
Donovan.
Yeah. You feel me? Or even Minnesota should have tried to trade for. If you're gonna give up all them picks.
Oh yeah, Minnesota. Yeah. Minnesota. Yeah,
dude.
Yeah.
Tell KD, hey, you got Cat over here. We got Ant. You got a young dude, a big. Come in. You the missing piece, bro. You the piece we need. We'll give Brooklyn all these picks. That'd be a haul for Brooklyn for KD.
Hey, that would have been kind of hard. Ant, KD, and Cat.
That's what I'm saying. Vanderbilt going to Brooklyn. You got Pat Bev going to Brooklyn. That's a culture setter right there. If you want to keep playing hard, maybe they jumped the gun too early. Started talking to Gobert's camp too early. Maybe they're kicking themselves like, bro, we could have had KD on this team. I don't know, but I mean, I just don't get it for Rudy. That's my only thing, man. If you're gonna throw out that much, so it got to be somebody that could get it on both sides of the court, and that's just my only issue with the trade.
Yeah, I mean, the man is what, a two-time defensive MVP, 3-time defensive MVP, or something
man,
like that.
I seen them not get past the second round. That's all I see with Rudy, bro. So you can do all that, man. Bro. He an offensive version of James Harden, bro. I mean, a defensive version. He's just James Harden on defense, bro.
Yeah,
deep player of the year. Get to the playoffs, they can't even play you on some situations. So yeah.
I mean, like we saying, man, the Rockets are looking good, man. We looking like we really trying to shift our culture and our identity, into something that's more and more, I wouldn't say likable, but more work collared, blue collared, hard nosed. And we got some defensive demons over here now. And looking at our roster up and down, we got some guys that's either good at defense now or either capable of playing good defense. And we're gonna start at KPJ. We seen him when he got his mind together. He was locking Curry up that one game. Like, he got some defensive potential with his long, arms and long reach to be a point guard. Jalen Green, we seen him. He progressed mightily from the beginning of the season towards the end of the season, to where he was fighting through screens, he was scratching, clawing, he was getting in there, he was mixing it up, looking good. And then on top of that, we all know Eric Gordon is already, he's a pretty good wing defender himself and man to man. And then we went and drafted 3 more defensive demons in Tari Eason, Jabari Smith, and Ty Washington, which evidently got a 16 wingspan that I didn't know nothing about. And
Yeah, I
it's
ain't
looking
know.
like the Rockets really trying to change their identity. What do you think about the defensive side of the ball and how it's going to look coming up this year, Frank?
I think this season is going to be a learning curve, but man, I think they got some upside. I mean, getting Jabari with that third overall pick, the best two-way player in the draft. I think that's so underrated. I think he's underrated. I know me and Mike were talking about just his body type and the fact that he's going to get bigger. He got the frame of like these guys that you've seen come in real skinny, and then by the time they in year 7, they get real muscular. So he's going to get bigger. You know his shooting is going to stay consistent. What does he add to the game to become a threat, like elite on both ends? Tari is going to be a project as far as an NBA, but I think he has the measurables to be, premier defender and possibly an offensive threat on in transition and just on the move. Then Ty I'm really excited about because, like you said, he has the wingspan. He's a bigger guard. He's not a small dude, and you could see him standing next to Jabari and Tari, who were both 6'8" and 6'10", 6'11". He doesn't look small. He doesn't look like he's a shorter dude. So this is a guy that has a nice mid-range game, good coming off of screens, has a quick trigger. Does remind me of he plays. I think Mike pointed this out, like D'Angelo Russell. And if you do, and at first I had him comp like Mike Conley a little bit, but
Andre Miller.
I like that kind of. He's smooth. I don't know if you watch his highlights yet. Dude, kind of smooth. He
I've seen him. Yeah,
he'd be like, he flow with his game. He a flower. You know what I mean? Like he just like poetry. I love guards like that, man, because their mind is like that. So he's like not panicking. I'm excited. I think all of them can make an impact on day one, on both ends of the court. By the end of the season, kind of that March, April stretch where you see rookies really get their foot under them. I think that's when we'll see what the future of this team is really going to look like. Because, they're going to get their bumps and bruises coming in. Everybody going to look bad the first couple months, getting used to playing all these games and the bigger players and the bumps and the pains, and I'm sore. But, like, after that All-Star break, I'm when they put that lineup of Tari and Jabari out there on the court together, man, and putting some guard in hell, that's what I'm here for, bro. And I'm excited about that.
Yeah, me too, man. Like, I think when you add 3 or hard-nosed guys like this with defense, that infuses the whole team. And we got guys that's already they're not ready to, they're not scared to get their nose dirty and get in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not too many guys that's just like too prissy on this team. It's like they're trying to build a defensive minded culture with guys that's just like, come on, whatever we got to do, we're gonna do it. Gut check time is. And when you get guys and you add these type guys to already enthused type group, I think we're gonna see some leaps and bounds look different. Like, it's gonna look totally different. Our defense next year, I think our defense really gonna surprise us. I think we're gonna be sitting back like, man, hold on, like, man, it's just not, because people just used to have a layup line going to the rack. We used to have little Chiozas and little guys. What's the little guy name from Guy? His name from the Heat. His last name Guy, man. I mean, we had the most randomest guys going
just
to the hole.
Looking like LeBron out there.
Right,
yeah.
Like, we couldn't stop nobody.
Max Strus dropping like 30 and it was nuts.
Bryn Forbes and people like this, just
Jalen Brunson put
just
up like
killing
40.
us, bro. Like, come on, like. But when we got wing defenders and we got guys that can actually be on a string like that. I don't think we had the personnel to really switch last year defensively. but I think we might have the personnel to switch defensively this year if the right guys are on the court together. You know,
Yeah, for sure.
I think we can run that switch defense to where we will be able to slow some of those little quicker guards and their actions to getting downhill so fast. I think just eliminating that part of our defensive struggles from last year, that right there is going to put us probably in the top 20 defensively off the jump. You know what I'm saying? And we was dead last. We've been the dead last the last 2 years in defense. So I'm looking for if anywhere I'm looking for elite this year, it is in the defensive categories on this team.
I think they're gonna have stretches where they flash just like where they just turn the water off on the team, and if we can get in the top 20, then I mean that'll be a huge leap for the team. Like that'll be very impressive for the coaching staff, and would let me know that okay, maybe we need to give Silas more time on his tenure here. I think that's really where you want to see the most improvement. Like the offense is going to take care of itself, but the defensive part, progressive improvement there does show something's going in the right direction. I'm curious to see where replacing Christian Wood with Jabari, how much impact that has. To me, that should not make you the worst team in the league on defense. Just having a guy that's that intense. We all know they're not gonna look great to start. Most rookies struggle. You know what I mean? So that's really what once they get their feet under them and they kind of know where they're supposed to be, everybody knows the communication. We know Jalen and KPJ like to play defense. We know that Tate, like who they just signed to a 3-year, $22 million deal, which I think was a great contract. We know he's a defensive guy. We know KJ was one of the best defensive players on the team. We know last year, we know that Josh Christopher likes to get in there and play defense. We know Şengün is a smart defender. He fouled a lot, but a lot of that stuff is just him getting used to the game. And once he got used to the game, you see that fouling went down to where he was able to play high minutes. And I'm just really excited. I think the team is moving in the right direction. If this goes wrong, it's not due to lack of talent or ability. It'll be something else. But the players they have, I think they are a good bunch, and I'm excited to see how they move forward.
Yeah, I think Jabari gonna be good defensively from jump because I don't think he's gonna have to guard wings or little guys on the perimeter as much. I think we got guys for that. The Eric Gordons, I think Tyrese, and I think even KJ get out there. Tate get out there now. Tate don't have to guard the 6'10s, the 6'11 guys no more. And with Jabari, he moves his feet very well on defense to where he can stay in front of a bigger guy. You know what I'm saying? And he's long enough to where he can distract and make some guys, shoot the ball where they don't want it to go. So I think he's gonna be actually good on defense, something like Mobley was last year. I think that's gonna be his calling card on defense to begin with. I think his offense gonna kind of struggle. I think he's gonna see if I can't get the ball facilitated to me, I'm gonna have to create my own shot. I think that's what he's gonna have to really work on his game this upcoming season. Just trying to make and facilitate his own shot if the ball is not coming around the horn and finding him wide open in the corner, every time, something like that. But as far as defensively, I think he's gonna be good defensively. I think he might struggle because I think he got that Tate syndrome where he's a little bit over aggressive just because he just that got that tenacity in him to where he's just gonna try to dog it out, the ball out from you no matter what. And as long as the other two guys like KPJ and Jalen Green just put an effort, you know what I'm saying? Just have effort. We know you're not gonna be locked down, but just have effort. I think we're gonna see a whole almost like a complete 180 in defense from this team next year.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think we have the right mentality in all the guys, and just excited to see. I'm curious to see what Silas and the coaching staff and what they do, the schemes and the different type of sets they run out. Are they going to switch? Are they going to play a drop? Jabari, how does he hold up against those bigger wings like Kawhi and LeBron? Because he is kind of light right now. So, yeah, all of that is yet to be seen. We do have Summer League coming up, starting, I think, this Thursday coming up in Vegas. First game is going to be versus Paolo Banchero and the Orlando Magic for the Rockets. And just getting to see. I think that would give us our first taste of what Jabari bringing it to the table, and I think people are going to be surprised. One thing I learned about this dude, man, he a little bit of an a-hole, man.
He gonna try to
Yeah.
knock 50, bro.
Yeah, he a little. He's not as like, but we see him with the button-up shirts and all that, and people think he like friendly. Man, that kid is not friendly, man. He is not nice. So I'm excited to see that. I want to see Tata as well, man. I'm really excited about him.
I am too as well. I just want to see how he orchestrate. How do he put people in positions, if he's gonna really be not a true point guard in a sense, but is he more pass first and shoot first type guard? Because if he's more pass first and shoot first, then we don't have an overlap in the backup point guard from him and KPJ. You know what I'm saying? Like when KPJ sits, sort of like how DJ Augustine came in, he was really setting people up to where they need to be, and you seen him and Şengün have a real good connection just because he knew where to put the ball at and what Şengün likes his spots and what, you know, certain, just what regular point guards do. And I'm real excited about it. Man, I'm just Thursday. We're gonna do something this weekend. We're gonna come back and revisit this.